Blessings, blessings, and grand risings, everyone. I hope you're having a great morning. Welcome to Grace in the Mornings, where I come to you live from my kitchen 3 days a week. I hope you guys can hear me and see me. We're waiting for the notifications to go out. With that goes to say, we have a great live plan. It's going to be heavy, heavy, heavy. Not really. Today we're going to be going into what's going on with ICE. We're going to get an update. We're going to dig into their budget, kind of what they've been doing. We're going to go into a little bit of the monitoring, some of the hiccups that has been happening most recently in regards to doxing happening on both sides, because we talk about that. And we're going to get into how Trump and his actions are actually breaking America. So just bear with me. We're waiting for the notifications to go out. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Let me know if you can hear me and see me, because we're going to get it going today. We got a lot to share. We're going to take a sneak peek into ICE's budget, okay? And one of the first things that I see that's going to be a problem, and that's going to continue the liability, okay? Let's get it. Now, let's see what's going on with ICE, because there is some issues with ICE and police in Minneapolis. I thought I had the clip. I think we're going to get into it when we get into a little bit more of the ruckus. But they're having issues in Minneapolis with police. But let's watch this real quick. Thank you for being here, guys. If you don't know who I am, my name is Miss Graves.
In the US right now, here are a couple details from the ad that stand out. You took an oath to protect and serve. So first thing we can see is that these ads are targeting police officers. And that's important because in Atlanta, just like in cities across the US, local police departments are already struggling with staffing shortages. Some of the biggest police departments here have hundreds of vacancies right now, and there's the possibility that existing police could leave to join ICE. Join the mission to protect America with bonuses up to $50,000 and generous benefits. ICE offering new recruits really generous benefit packages to convince them to sign on, and it's something that local police departments really can't compete with. I took time to reach out to all of the big Metro Atlanta police departments, and they confirmed that when it comes to something like signing bonuses, they can really only offer a fraction of what ICE is offering right now. In its recruitment ads, ICE is also characterizing the immigrants as dangerous criminals, gangsters, predators, but when we look at the data, only a minority of the people getting arrested by ICE are actually convicted criminals. But in sanctuary cities, you're ordered to stand down, while dangerous illegals walk free. Atlanta is not a sanctuary city, but over the summer, the Department of Homeland Security did put Atlanta on this list of sanctuary cities at risk of losing federal funding. Apply now. Join.ice.gov and fulfill your mission.
So ICE is coming hard. We already heard Christy Nome talking about, basically they're going to be recruiting thousands of ICE agents. And what he's saying, I agree that the police stations can't line up to that amount of money and bonus, but who wants to be an ICE agent right now? That's why we started to go into foreign national acts and going into some of the old executive orders that we talked about that was put in place to allow other foreign nationals to become police, army men, things like that, which I think is going to open the door to have sleeper cells, but we're just going to keep it moving. But we're kind of just getting into the flow because we see what's going on. It's been major recruitment. If you guys are online right now, you guys will see a majority of ads coming in talking about being a federal agent, being a federal agent. Okay, so remember, guys, this is our money. This is our tax dollars that's going towards this. And today we're going to be doing kind of like a comprehensive breakdown of where our money's been going in America right now and where we've been defunded. So these are protests outside Tuesday, January 6th, out of, where are they at? I believe in Minneapolis, most likely, because this is where it's going down. And it's getting...
We have just had too many good community members disappeared.
I don't agree with it. Their kids go to our schools. They're part of our community, and we need them.
So people are moving towards the notation of basically abolishing ICE right now. This is the talk. It has got so extreme that they're not only well, they're not talking about it because we need to really get on our Democrat and our Congress because they're still funding it. We have the proof. But they're pushing to, abolish ICE. So rise in ICE monitoring and doxing due to dangerous rhetoric, federal officials say. So these are some of the things that I want you guys to pay attention to, not only just the chaos, but some of the things that they're talking about as far as they're going to create laws behind these incidents so they can start to entrap people. And I said, people, be careful if you were one of the people who actually, were able to get some of that information
schedules or time
that was left inside the ICE agent car. Okay, they're commentators basically saying upload it, share it. And I think that's the setup. I'm just being honest. I'm not a goody goody. I'm just a person that avoid the obvious and the BS. So now you're seeing raise in ICE monitoring and doxing due to dangerous rhetoric and as federal officials say. So hold on one second, because this right here, this commercial is pretty long. Thank you for being with us this morning. If you don't know who I am, my name is Miss Grace. I tried to just get into the broadcast this morning because if you don't know, every Wednesday we have our live food giveaway. Okay. And our live food giveaway takes place in Atlanta every Wednesday at 3:30. Okay. What is this? What is this? All right. So while this is queuing up, we're going to flash back to what is ICE services right now and their budget. Okay, we're going to just get into a little bit of what they're going to be doing, the appropriation and where it's going to. And you're seeing this. And then we're going to do a contrast of the sectors that has been defunded, because all of the defunding happened at the beginning of Trump administration, and no one is talking about refunding these, how can I say, programs that we need, revamping them, the new bills that's coming out only from Trump administration or that side of the, can I say, of the aisle, is not really helping us out. So let's just get to it. As of January 2026, the budget, again, I told you it started at 85 billion, went up to $107 billion, and they're looking to add $100 billion to ICE's budget. Okay? $100 billion for the efforts that we were telling you about, which is increased monitoring, surveillance, increased detention, as well as there was one more thing that they're using ICE for. Oh, to take away your Second Amendment rights, because they're going to start to be able to enter our homes, and they're going to use these new gun laws that they're having right now as, how can I say, as a foundation to come on in. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so this is ICE tracking app. Let's just remind people that this is going on, and they're going to keep these efforts
there are
up.
some things people are noticing online that are raising serious red flags. First, the social media discourse. People have been sharing warnings and screenshots saying arrests or encounters follow dating app interactions. These posts are coming from social media users, and while not everything we hear online is true, they're consistent enough that people are paying attention, especially in cities with active enforcement. So I went on a dating app myself to see if there was anything that could support what people were saying.
Oh, this is bad. Wait, imagine if they trying to get the immigrants through dating apps. That's
Some of what I saw raised serious concern.
Whoa.
Profiles listing things like armed security, independent security contractor, or work connected to the federal government. I also saw these same profiles using passport mode, meaning they're browsing in cities they're not physically in, including places they may be headed next. Combined with certain tattoos and language, it stood out enough to make me realize that the social media discourse could be very true. But why would agents just start tracking people on their own? Well, there's the incentive structure. Reporting has shown that immigration enforcement agents can receive performance-based bonuses tied to arrests or removals, creating individual motivation that doesn't require an official program or public announcement. When we zoom out, we can see that this all exists inside a much larger data surveillance reality. ICE and DHS have been reported to use commercially available data, informants, and digital tools in enforcement. So the advice circulating online is really a warning. Don't overshare. Be wary of profiles that push meetings fast or probe your routine or work. Keep chats within the app and trust patterns. Because the reality is this. Most violence against women comes from men who gain access through familiarity, not force. Dating spaces create that access, and when power or enforcement is layered on top of it, the risk only increases.
All right, guys. So this is not only a heads up of what's going on, but hold on one second. It's also a breakdown of how they're getting into these different apps. As I mentioned to you guys, no lie here. Someone was like, she's lying. I bring you the same numbers. ICE right now, just the base is $100 billion. And again, we have the budget here. It's online for you guys to see. And I'm just going to go into one or two pages, the pages that's related to what I'm talking to today, how it's still going to be major issues in these ICE detention centers because they don't plan on actually maintaining them or getting them inspected according to the budget. Okay, so they got a whole lot about deportation and domestic terrorist programs is getting way more than international terrorist program. I'm just going to show y'all the proof. I'm pre-talking about stuff, but just get ready. So remember, the annual budget is usually between $8 and $10 billion, just the general appropriation. So they're going to get that. Enforcement operations is around 30 billion usually. They're looking to seek to get 75 billion in 2026 package. This is things you can pull up. There's no lie. This is our tax money. We're paying them to do these things to us. And I'm talking about this because we have to switch the focus. We have to get our congressmen, these people who are, oh, Trump is this, Trump is that, and throwing out, how do they call it, rhetoric to keep us going, to actually start putting bills out there, start moving to rectify some of the things that he's dismantling. But it's not going to happen if we don't stay focused and know the facts. Again, special projects budget include $25 million for Homeland Security investigation to support, and also to support the 2026 World Cup. Just know that a lot of people they said over 20,000 people
Are you going to try it?
has canceled their tickets to the World Cup this year. They're not coming here. They're not coming here. So you can already see, as far as people coming to want to visit America, no, not at all. And I already brought up the fact that we're starting to be trapped into this nation because they're canceling people's visas. Where Trump goes after nations, nations are retaliating against us. So let's just keep this in the forefront. Now, again, I'm bringing up some of the stuff I talked about the last slide because I just touched it a little bit. But the surveillance that we're going to be paying for is what we have to keep our eyes on. Okay, let's turn this over. So we're not paying for education. We don't need Social Security no more, even though that was something that was literally made for the people to have money to save in retirement, because they knew at that time when they came up with the Social Security system that we as American citizens, what they had planned for us, that we would never be able to actually save money realistically if we wasn't really financially savvy, like investing in certain portfolios, having different connections and things like that. The average person was set to fail. Even middle class, having these large mortgages on them, which become a death note because of the interest. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about this. These are the things that we're not looking at because we're in the middle of chaos. But again, we're being surveillance, and I'm showing you this because I want you guys to be aware. We're going to be online. Be online. Speak your piece. But don't be so reckless that you have people knocking on your damn door because they're looking for any excuse to lock up people. This is not just a migration thing anymore. I don't know. Now, I don't know the benefit of having a lot of Americans locked up, just like I didn't know the benefit of pushing this and a lot of us dying throughout that time. But in my conspiracy mind, we're not dealing with the same type of human beings, but I'm going to shut up. So Border Patrol use license plates again, scanners to monitor drivers in Bay Area. Let's just watch this. This is the technology, the easy way of doing things that's leading us down to the abyss. Let's just keep it real. To the abyss. Let's do things the old school way. Start learning how to write again. You know what I'm trying to say? Without having to use computers all the time. Start budgeting. I'm dead serious, because if we start depending on this technology and not using it as an anchor to build us up, it's going to outdo us, and it's going to monitor us, and it's going to control us. Does that make sense? Let's go. Flags vehicles deemed suspicious and has resulted in people being stopped. Let me know if you can hear the video, guys. ABC 7 News reporter Luce Pena spoke with Bay Area experts about the implications of all of this. Luce?
Yes, Dan, in the Bay Area, we have hundreds of license plate reader cameras scanning and storing this information in real time. The concern is who has access to this data here, and are any laws being violated? U.S. Border Patrol has extended its surveillance from the nation's boundaries deep into American cities.
This is massive government overreach that puts every American under warrantless mass surveillance.
An Associated Press investigation revealed details of how the U.S. Border Patrol surveillance program works, finding thousands of pages of government documents and arrest reports, pointing to the use of license plate reader cameras to identify and detain drivers with suspicious travel patterns.
Automated license plate readers.
So remember this, guys. Them today, us tomorrow. Now, I'm saying that in the aspect of, okay, they doing this to get them illegals and, the people who they can't track down. But this technology is going to still be there implemented, and then they're going to have policies that allow them to utilize this. So it's not going to stop. They're going to use this on us as though they're using it on us right now anyway. Just give you a heads up.
Regardless of whether the driver is suspected of any crime. And that means the Border Patrol is seizing the ability to track any driver in America.
Many Bay Area cities like San Francisco, Berkeley, and Piedmont have license plate reader cameras similar to the ones listed in the AP investigation. Just this week, Oakland council members voted against expanding the existing camera system they have in their city.
See, it starts right there. Do you see what I'm saying? It starts right here in our city. It don't start on the whole state level, like just everybody get cameras. They kind of go through our council meetings, start saying we need to get more the drivers under control. They're driving crazy, and they put these privately owned cameras all over our city, and then there's private owners who have interest in our political sector. Honestly, I've seen that, and I'm going to give y'all a prime example where I have to quote this. On the South Side, they have a camera system out there in Chicago, and it's directly linked to a lawyer that's over there that runs politics. Why I say this lawyer run politics? Because he's a lawyer for every damn body. Y'all know who I'm talking about if y'all my old subscriber, Delgado, okay? And that guy is linked to these lights, and he has like some ownership and things like that, try to do third party stuff, but then he's in politics representing politicians, and they lawsuit against each other. Baby, just me paying attention to what happened on the South Side, it made me start looking at the bigger picture, like, yo, this goes on everywhere. So again, I wanted to show you this because these are some of the things that are already implemented. And someone said, how can we get away from surveillance? My thing is, right now, we have to be aware of what's being implemented in our communities, point blank, period. It's terrible. It takes a lot. I'm just saying terrible because we just don't want to do it. Go to council meetings, watch your local council meetings, see what's on the agenda, have them make sure they put things down in detail. And if it's time for open forum and you guys get to have an opinion, go out there and shoot your shot. Again, not only that, get into these positions. If you believe in this system, get into the system and start to fix it. I'm just keeping it real. These are some of the things we can do, and limit some of the dumb shit that you do in front of the camera. Duh. Because if it's watching you, that's what I'm telling you right here. Ms. Gray's going to have to tell y'all I'm preventative. You ain't going to see me do nothing stupid if I know there's a camera there. Even though I'm not going to do nothing stupid. But come on, people just CSI. And they do crimes with their phone. This was already set up, the monitoring thing. So the next implementation to me is the real ID. And we already into this concept of the real ID. We got to use it. Now we're able to use a card. But they're going to say, put it on your phone. Make it more easier. Make it more easier for you. Oh, maybe let's just connect it to a barcode real quick or a QR code that you can keep in your phone, things like that. And then it progresses. So let's just keep our eye on this. Now we're going to watch this. It says ICE could start monitoring social media page 24/7. Immigration attorney explains. So let's just watch this. This is not to make you afraid. It's to make you aware. And then when we get into the budget, we're going to get into this. Hopefully, I didn't get into the 430 pages. I probably made it to like 11 right now. But just in the 11 pages, I see a big problem. So we got to go to our Congress people. We got to talk to them and say, hey, this is what's here. You just about to pass a $10 million budget for them. We got the article. So the Democrats is still supporting this some way, somehow, on the low. On the low, okay? And y'all know I'm not Democrat or Republican. I just tell on everybody. I tell the truth. And what they say, tell the truth and shame the damn devil.
Surveillance plan from ICE to monitor social media 24 hours a day.
Jesus.
Wired magazine was the first to report on publicly available contracting records that show ICE is looking for contractors to potentially operate around-the-clock social media surveillance of platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, and X. It is already causing concern here in our region. So what could this mean for you, your friends, and your family who use social media? Immigration attorney Kelly Ortega joins us now to answer some of these important questions. Kelly, thanks so much for joining us.
Just for me and you, y'all, Americans too.
We still don't know all the details of this plan or when it could be rolled out, but based on what we do know, should people who post on social media be concerned about this? Is there any potential fallout?
Well, it definitely is a concern. We usually think of social media as a public place to share happy memories, to connect with loved ones and friends. However, we now know that the government intends to use all this publicly available information to increase their dossiers on people they want to arrest and detain for deportation processes. So it is concerning that this information is now going to be used for these negative reasons against people who are in the United States.
Kelly, I'm just curious, is there any sort of legal precedence for law enforcement? Have we seen something like this happen before?
Well, there is this general notion that information that is publicly available, any public social media posts that are made publicly, that is within the government's purview to consume, just as it's available for us to consume. However, this effort that is now this 24-hour round-the-clock, this massive investment that's going to be made is unprecedented. And it questions or begs the question is, if immigration is going to be using this to potentially arrest or remove people, they're obviously going to collect information for people that probably aren't removable. And what will they do with that information? Who holds it? How long do they keep it? What else do they intend to do?
You know what they're doing with that information. They're using it to build a profile against people and use it as incriminating information to go after them, to find any way to call them domestic terrorists.
These are the concerns.
That's the name for me and you, for American citizens. Y'all see that's being thrown out a lot.
All of us have, even for those of us that aren't facing potential deportation.
Is this an infringement on people's First Amendment freedoms? I know so many people use social media, as you mentioned, not only just to stay in touch with their family and friends, but also to share their views, to talk about what's going on in our world today. Is this plan infringing on their rights?
It can be seen that way because if people are concerned that the things that they post online could be harmful to themselves or other people, it can suppress their desires to freely express their views, to freely tag a loved one or post about their situation and air how they genuinely feel. So it's indirectly affecting our freedom of speech.
And let me just kind of throw this in there because I got to be a goody. It also affects our mental health, okay? You saw what happened during the COVID, okay? Where we wasn't able to talk and a lot of us knew something was wrong. This was crazy. We were separated. People were arguing, kind of like the same tone right now. And then we weren't able to express our truths. So that made a lot of us go into kind of like suppression, separation. People went into depression, all types of stuff. And we're going to highlight what Trump has defunded. And one of the main things he had defunded was mental health services in America. And I will tell you this, as a nurse in America, mental health was the worst sector in healthcare ever. Defunded, underanalyzed, under-researched, drug them up, keep it moving, suppressing them demons with pills until they go do something. And that's real. I'm just keeping you. That is not health. That is not a good continuum to get us back on our feet. So this is all the factors that we're going to be playing a part in our daily lives, because you're going to see it manifest. People are going to be more stressed out, and you already see what's going on right here. And once they start trying to suppress what's going on, and people, I don't know if they're going to really get afraid, because people are pretty sick and tired right now, because they're probably just losing their damn mind. This is like the third round of a major issue for us, and I think we're pretty much over this. But with that goes to say, we're going to have a lot of mental health disparities. Let's just keep this in mind, okay?
Our freedom to express our ideas in this country, because we don't know all the consequences that can come from that.
We have about
and TikTok, I'm just going to keep it real. TikTok is done.
Your clients or anybody who's watching right now about posting on social media, knowing that this could soon become a reality?
Yes.
Well, first of all, we have to know that social media is a tool for good, but it can also be a tool for bad. So we can always consider what we post and how we post it, what is publicly available, and what kind of privacy filters that we use, and also have those conversations with loved ones and friends about what information we want them to share about us. And then anyone who's potentially facing any immigration issue, whether that's deportation or achieving some sort of legal status, talk to an immigration attorney and find out, what is my level of exposure here? Is there anything I need to be concerned about?
Yep, they telling them, yo, you got to even talk to your attorney about what to say. Shout out to, it was someone, beautiful Bill. It says, so it's a spiritual battle. Definitely. If you saw my last live, what we were talking about, I was talking about some of the biblical aspects of the wars going on with the nations. So yes, it's definitely a spiritual battle, because the first spiritual warfare to be inflicted on anyone is mental instability. They get you in the mind, and that's what they're doing to us. So yes, you did reiterate what I have been trying to stress, is that not only that we're physically going through something, but spiritually they're putting us on a whole nother realm. So thank you for bringing that up. It says Brian Ransom 16 mental health services has been defunded since 2020. They never even funded it correctly. Me being inside healthcare, one of my first facilities I'm gonna tell you I worked at. I literally quit the job in 3 months, and my mother told me, you can't quit jobs like that, and you gotta, I said, baby, if I stay there, I'm gonna lose my license. Make a long story short, during the COVID, they found 40 dead bodies in that place. It was a mental health facility that they had up in Andover, New Jersey. Go look that up. Baby, that was the mental services. I just caught a flashback, guys. It's bad. It's bad. And I always pushed for us as healthcare providers, no matter what sector you worked in, or just regular people, to be mindful of people's mental state, regardless, because we think that they're just where we're at, and a lot of people are not. So ICE arrest data shows the power of the state and the local governments. They're starting to be a big issue, because one, they're trying to take the forces from the police. Two, there is a few videos that I'm gonna go over in the next live when we talk about what's going on in Minneapolis. But it looks like Minneapolis police and ICE is kind of like, because you had who was it? Was it Nome that basically told them to stand down? Tell the police to stand down. Correct me if it was, it was just in the news that Nome told the police to stand down, because obviously something is going on. So we're having a major issue. So I'm going to leave that right there, and I'm going to show you one more thing, because I want to do a full live on ICE's budget. I only was able to go through like 8 or 9 pages, but before we show you this, watch this. This is what they're trying to do too, is another monitoring system through a watch. Let's watch this real quick.
Out a new tool to track immigrants, a smartwatch called VeriWatch. For years,
put that
the
on
government
all of
used
us.
bulky monitors to track people in the Alternatives to Detention program. Now, the focus is shifting to wearable tech that looks just like a regular watch, but How does it work? Well, VeryWatch uses a GPS to track your location 24/7, facial recognition to prove identity, and direct messaging from ICE, all in real time. Officials say the watch is less invasive and lets people stay at home while their court cases move forward. However, advocates worry about privacy and how much data the government is collecting. For now, VeryWatch represents the latest shift in how immigration enforcement uses technology.
That's another detention watch. That's another detention watch. And I want to say thank you guys for being here. Shout out to Nicole. I want to read your comment because we about to get to it. Now we about to get to the numbers, okay? Because you must be new here, Nicole, because what we do is share a lot of information and we kind of compare and contrast on it, and we talk from a critical perspective, non-biased, non-Democrat, Republican, and we make it happen so we kind of can apply it to our life. She said, I wish people actually did research before speaking lies that are nowhere near the truth. They think because they say it, it makes it the truth. Exactly. That's why I use so many different resources and we compare and contrast. But a lot of people who watch me, they end up liking me because I speak from logic, like real, in my heart. At the end of the day, it's for the betterment of everybody. But if you don't want this work, it does not matter. Okay, so let's just look at this. There was an article that was very interesting to me, how ICE detention centers make people untraceable. And that's when we're going to get into a little bit of the budget. I'm going to read this article to you, and we're going to get to the few of the pages of the budget, because that's going to get us into money matters, okay? Because someone was like, you're lying. You're lying. They're not giving them over $100 million. That, what I told you, what I read off, is just ICE annual budget. But peep this. I got some information. Trump actually included money in the big beautiful bill for ICE. It says the so-called one big beautiful bill allocates more than $170 billion over 4 years for border and interior enforcement, with the stated goal of deporting 1 million immigrants each year. Okay, so that's more money coming from the big beautiful bill sector. That's what I'm telling you. We got to pay attention, because the big beautiful bill is something different. Because when I was going over the big beautiful bill with you guys months ago, I didn't see no allocation for this, baby. So by the time it got all the way through the avenues and where it went to, it added on to this. And this information that I'm giving you is brought to you by BBC News. Okay. Okay. This is what they're doing with our money. So they want to give an additional $170 billion over 4 years. That is more than the yearly budget for all the local and state law enforcement agency combined across the entire United States, which really seems really weird, because I know Republicans would love me to hear me say this, but I am real. I think they use Black Lives Matter as a decoy to weaken the police report in police stations across the United States, and weaken the relationships between the community and the police. Now, me coming from the Black neighborhood, I totally understand the importance of the police and people working together, because in Newark, New Jersey, that's what they did. But once you have a sense of division, like what happened with the George Floyd and all the mismanagement of the money and looking to defund police, it caused a bad tone. So not only did they defund the police in many ways, but at that same time, they loaded them. This is what I'm saying. We talking. Go look this up. They loaded them with ammunition. Peep that. So I really do believe that they may have thought that the police would probably be getting in line for times like this. Because when they were getting all this ammunition, I was like, man, what they prepared for Civil War? What the hell? The police need these big old and all of this SWAT stuff. Everybody SWAT. Everybody SWAT. But since the momentum have went down so much with policing and what's going on right now, to addition, we have a major problem. It looks like those two forces are kind of like, but I think this was some of the setup. Just kind of go back in memory lanes and some of the things that happened and kind of bring it up to par. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight, guys, that another $170 billion will be going to ICE over the next 40 years from the big beautiful bill. We'll get into that when we relook at the big beautiful bill again, because obviously they left some stuff out. So this is how ICE detention centers makes people untraceable, and then we're going to get a little bit into the budget. So as we talked about before, as part of the immigration work, we help to locate community members. So this is the people who work to support the migrants. It says we help to locate community members who have been detained by immigration and custom enforcement. and the Border Patrol. Over the last 6 months, we have tracked and had trouble tracking our clients and family members, and a pattern has emerged from these cases. Several recent cases has confirmed something that advocates have long understood yet rarely captured in real time. People do not simply just get lost in the immigration system. The system itself is designed to lose them. And this is what we're paying for, okay? Now, remember, we're going into these facilities too, even though ICE is not supposed to be locking up American citizens. And again, my mega, why aren't you saying anything about this? Like, okay, right is right, wrong is wrong. If you want them to get the migrants, what about the American people that they're harming? Let's talk about it. Let's be for real, because the same thing that's set right now is going to be here forever for you. So the cases revealed day-to-day failures behind immigration detention tracking, shielding light on how, sorry, excuse me, shedding light on how the new model immigration detention operation and its practices is dangerous. Immigration raids themselves are not the new to this country, but under Trump administration, they got a little crazy. So right now, it says in October, this was from October alone. In October, they had more than 40,000 people were booked in the detention center. And plus, they say that these detention centers can hold 40,000 people, but they cannot. The highest monthly total in over 10 years. The shift isn't only in the number of people who's being detained, but it's how quickly individuals become untraceable once they enter the system. A process that will already cause more pain and strife in the American political immigration system. Okay, so let's just move on. Now, this is what we're about to get to. I want you guys to see what's going on. Now, let's get to the budget real quick. I'm about to pull it up. And you guys can look at it and you say, she's lying. And I'm not lying. I just didn't have time to go over all of it because I've been pretty busy. And also, people who are on my membership page, I have an update on my personal case that I'm working on. We got somebody locked up. We got him locked up. And we got a civil case coming against him. Once we get the video of his arrest, that was so embarrassing because he's trying to countersue us for $15,000. We're going to give you the rest. Yeah, Grace got that work. Okay, I'm not here just talking. I fight for justice. Yes, we got his ass locked up. So shout out to the people who are in my membership. Get over there where we talk about our law problems, how to make complaints, civil complaints, just learning about law. I like to research. So that's what my membership is about. And I'll be doing a members only video today. And it'll be live for about 24 hours. Now, let's get to this. This is the budget. This is DHL budget. Okay, here we go. All right, check it out. This is the budget. I need you guys to go up there. What it say? Fiscal year 2026. Now, I'm just going to go to the page that I want to go to, guys. And when I do this live, I'm going to have to do it on my PC. And I pray to God that YouTube send out the notifications, because this is shit that I used to do on the South Side. I used to pull up them damn numbers. I had warned them their taxes was going to go up. Shout out to the South Side. I want y'all asses that them new politicians that you just got into there, the same thing they're trying to do to us, where everybody like, this, fuck it, get any Democrat up in this bitch right now. Because y'all ran all over to the Republicans. Look what the fuck we got. Shit on top of shit. So the same thing happened to them. They went to get this mayor out. She was a piece of crap. Now they got another piece of crap in there. Raise the taxes, not talking to the people. And I can't totally blame them because the system was a whole setup and rig. But I'm just letting y'all know what the hell they do. Okay, so don't go be rushing to say, Democrat, Democrat. We love it. Y'all better figure out what these people stand for. All right, bear with me, guys. Now, this is the budget right here. This is one of the things I wanted to look at real quick. This is the beginning. So you see this? This is all we're going to look at right now. Homeland Security investigations, because this is what we've been talking about. You can see this is about $2.4 million. And again, we're going to just go up to see what year we're looking at. So this is 24, 25, and 26. So we're just going to see if there's any marked difference. Guys, I'm very honest. This is the custody operations over here. Okay, this is what we're looking at, guys. I'll be able to show you this on my PC. Tell them to send my damn notifications out so we can get down. So this was 24, 25, and 26. It's looking a little bit similar, but what I'm seeing, enforcement removal operations is going up to $6 million. Six, I'm saying million, $6 million, because we're dealing with billions here. They have also this is our domestic and our internal operations. Now, what blew me is that the domestic operations actually it's not changing in this particular budget. Now, remember, this budget is only the budget that deals with Homeland Security. This does not talk about the what did I say? The $104 million, or $170 billion, I do apologize, that's coming out the big, beautiful bill. So we really don't know what's coming to these particular sectors, but I just want to give you a heads up. And this is what made me feel away. International operations is only 217,000. That's what it's looking like to me. They increased it to 224,000. But again, we get domestic investigations get the most. Again, this is the objective of what I think they want to do, because this is a continued pattern. This is just a reference that they got online. I would assume that this is kind of like a shell, because that's what they did with the South Side. They would put something out there, and then by the end of the the approval, shit was a little bit different. So I'm just giving y'all a heads up of what's going on. Okay, so here we go. What did they hear? Transportation and removal program. So they're going to be giving $1 million allegedly to the transportation and removal program. Again, we don't know how the operations are set up properly, because nobody is actually going in to make them fix it. No one is actually saying, hey, this is how it's supposed to go. When you have detainees in here, this is how long you have to get them out. This is against the law, this, that, and the third. You violating the law. It's a lot of talking, but I don't think it's happening fast enough. I'm being honest, because there's too many people that's suffering, and I'm starting to believe that my view of life, not being a Democrat or Republican, is the best thing to be, because the Democrat, y'all got to step it the hell up. All right. So is another thing that I want to show you guys. Enforcement and removal operation has increased for 2026, as I told you, and more of the money has always been allocated to domestic investigation, which is us. There's another thing that I do want to show you guys, as far as the facility, and me knowing that they're not going to keep these facilities up. And that was one of the reasons why the mayor of Newark got locked up, because of the facility that they had the ICE facility in was already condemned before they bought the facility from a private bank, whatever they did. So the mayor wanted to get in to see the facility to see if it was safe, because it was condemned. Again, he couldn't. They held him up, held him hostage. Again, do our public officials have any power for real, or are they just putting on a telenovela for us? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm feeling some type of way. I'm feeling some type of way, because it feels like we are going to have to be the people that actually have to make things happen. And that means you guys are going to have to come up with bills. What the hell did I say? Yeah, you believe in the system. You guys can come up with a bill, present it to your senator. You can start moving it through the chains. I ain't here just to talk it. I'm here to walk it. Because at the end of the day, if we keep on going down the path that they're going down, we're going to be really stressed out. The only good thing about this, and I'm going to have to give this to Candy Owens while I find the procurement for maintenance. I think it's on page 7. I have to give this to Candy Owens. Remember, she talked about Project what is it? Project Looking Bird or something like that, where you look into the future. What was it called? Y'all put that in there. This is the first time I ever heard that, and I'm a conspiracy head. And when I looked into that, put it in there as Project something, it made me so happy, and I had to say it, because they said at the end of that project, they basically saw that it was only one outcome to the future. No matter how much they try to put disaster in it, mess up the timeline, whatever it is, outcome number one was literally going to the same timeline, and I believe that's God. But it's just like the path we take. Is it going to be easy, or is it going to be hard? Does that make sense? And if we start paying attention to these things, we'll be able to, here we go. Look at this shit. I'm about to finish with this, and I'll go over this 130 pages because I ain't never no joke, y'all. I started looking, I found stuff from the beginning, like what the hell? Okay, this is right here. It says operations and support, 618,000. I don't understand. It's going down. They don't want. I don't. No, it went up in 2026. I do apologize. So I guess that's the contracts they're doing. But this is what I wanted to highlight: immigration inspection user fees. Look at this. And they also have a bond. They're only using $135,000 to inspect all these new businesses. I mean, all of these new ICE facilities. 135,000. This has been the budget for 2024, 25. Do y'all see what I'm saying? I'm not showing y'all nothing that's a lie. So if you guys are down for the deportation, at least you want it to be done safely and the operations to be focused on external affairs and not internal affairs. Okay, so I'm going to leave this right here. We're going to do a full live on what the actual procurements are. Hopefully this is an up-to-date version, but I'm telling you now, we're going to have severe problems with these ICE facilities. They're basically employing retards, people who don't know anything about any sector of government, law enforcement, anything. The guy literally said, "Oh, I'm making $200,000 and I only graduated from high school." Probably. This is where our money is going to. Right. That's DEI because you're just giving prominent positions to just anybody. And I respect the ICE position. Again, February the 2nd is my uncle anniversary who was an ICE agent who unalived himself. And I believe it was work related and family related. Mental health is real. That's what we're going to be seeing too with these ICE agents. So let's just get to this because we're going to start talking about money. We're like 47 minutes in. I still got some time here. You better stop voting for race and party. You better vote for policy. Stop being stupid. Why? That's why you're being replaced. I don't know, Optimus. Who's being replaced? I don't think people. I think some people probably vote on color or whatever it is, but that's not what I'm on. I'm really on people being self-sufficient and grassroots movements and making it happen. I ain't say vote for somebody to make up a bill for you. Get your ass up there and learn how to make a bill for yourself. Our voting is obviously compromised like most countries. So what you gonna do now? When everybody voted for it, all these things to suppress. Okay, once they get the system rigged to the point that they're just putting in anybody and we have no elections like Trump said, what is next? We're literally living in Hunger Games. So we have to look at this a different way because the system is collapsing. Right here it says Democrats support bill that will give ICE $10 billion. The party has few good options and resistant ICE allegedly. So this is brought to you by Huffman Post. I'm just gonna read this real quick. And I think they have options. Y'all tell me what the options is, honestly, because they're talking about dismantling ICE. And I really respect that we need ICE. We need the FBI. We need all types of sectors, but we need them to be honest. We need real agency. We don't need rogue agencies. So basically, it says in the midst of the contrast on President Trump's immigration enforcement policies by partisan spending bill for the Department of Homeland Security on Tuesday warns that that a presumed shutdown that the agent and some progressive has called for would do little to restrain Trump ongoing immigration crackdown. And that's when they were talking about a shutdown, and that was just stupid. And I'm glad they didn't do it. It's not stopping anything from happening. ICE must be reined in, and unfortunately, neither that our politicians nor the shutdown will do anything to restrain it. Because thanks to allegedly Republicans, I'm just reading what they say, ICE is now sitting on massive slush funds that can be tapped in whenever, wherever they want to. It says, and it has not withstand the passing of the last bill Senate Patty Murray have said. It says, two top Democrats on the Senate committee said in a statement referring to the $75 billion in additional funds after what we talked about. This is all our money going to ICE that Immigration and Customs Enforcement already received from Republican last year. We're just going to add this a little bit up. The suggestion that the shutdown in this moment might curb the lawlessness is a whole daggone lie. It says some of the left have called for denying funds to ICE in response to the agency's often brutal tactics, rounding up both Americans and immigrants, Minnesota and all other states. But the $64 billion DHS funding bill doesn't do that. It doesn't stop. It keeps spending for ICE, flat at $10 billion relative to the last year. So instead of it being $10 billion package, it's a $64 billion package. I literally, in this live alone, we had almost $250 billion in funds going to ICE from different places. Are you serious? Go look this up yourself while we move on, because now we're about to talk about, is America going to be the next Rome? Okay, let's get to it. Let's watch this little live real quick. If you don't know what I do on Wednesday, with this video, I give food out on Wednesdays. Today we're giving teriyaki chicken, rice, and broccoli, and we have chicken bites with hot sauce. So I have to just switch something in the oven real quick, get that going, and I want you guys to look at this short video that's going to highlight, will America fall like Rome? Now let's get to what the hell is Trump is doing, because he done pocket a lot of money, y'all. He pocket a lot of money this year.
Described as the world's greatest civilization. Its long, sad path of decline and fall is a story for the ages. What can Rome's collapse teach 21st century Americans?
There has been through American history this consciousness
like a 4-minute video.
of vulnerability, this consciousness of decline, this consciousness of a past greatness that somehow we may be falling short of. Make America great again. Make America great again.
Oh my God.
Politicians have capitalized on this vulnerability, but they're missing the point.
The narrative of decline and fall of Rome that has prevailed in America's minds has assumed that the fall was both the end of the story and the bad part. What if after the fall is the time we should be concentrating on as modern Americans? If we make Romans of these barbarians, can we withhold Roman citizenship from them?
There are many theories of what went wrong.
Don't that sound familiar, y'all?
There's corruption, there's slavery, there's overextension. To evade the elephant charge, draw the legions up in column.
The simplest theory involves a string of military losses that chipped away at its borders. Finally, a barbarian defeated the last emperor to rule from Italy. Historians consider this the end of the Western Roman Empire, the part that tends to get all the attention.
After the fall, you have the bubonic plague, you have the Dark Ages, and then eventually you come to the Renaissance.
Now, remember what happened in the Dark Ages. Do y'all know what happened in the Dark Ages? The Dark Ages was literally them taking the history and burning it, okay, and getting rid of it and rewriting it. And then this is when we had the Renaissance came, when they rewrote history and, made it their own, because, the victors will do that. But doesn't that seem familiar? Like they're doing that right now. But let's just watch a few more minutes of it. Thank you guys for being here with me. I just want you guys to see that we're kind of replaying history again and again.
In between late antiquity, this time of transformation gave rise to new systems of government, a new state religion, and artistic experimentation. And it can be a case study for America.
When Rome went away, some things were lost, other things were created that became possible. The idea of modern corporations and business organizations, some concept of individual rights, the first glimmer of what became universities. There was a kind of experimentation, which was the necessary precondition to the flowering of the Renaissance and onwards.
In just 6 months,
3 of the 5 biggest independent firms on Wall Street have now disappeared.
How does the U.S. of today compare to the Rome of the past?
Over the last generation, there's almost nothing the national government system seems capable of. You have more and more national politics becoming a matter that you call tribal or like sports rivalries in a really nasty way.
The empire might be fading, but cities and towns tell a different story at the local level.
80% of Americans across the country and of all different ethnicities and income levels consider the community where they lived to be an excellent or quite good place to live.
See, that's
70% of Americans
that's how we stay under the illusion.
Trusted the people in their own neighborhoods.
It must be that America was made great by Americans.
Just as the fall of central power in Rome made way for new possibilities, a weaker national government could lead to stronger local initiative.
President Trump tweeted today that he is revoking California's ability to set its own auto emission standards.
In almost any area of public policy you can think of.
What the hell? Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all just saw that? That was so Wow. Why they just show me that? That was unnecessary, them two men kissing. I'm sorry.
Where national policy is not. We're seeing things like that.
That was predictive program, y'all.
Little farming town of Spurville, just outside Dodge City. Wind turbines becoming a major source of income for farmers. In every city in the United States, you can see city-based activity to plant more trees. It may be the single most effective short-term step to deal with carbon that's already in the atmosphere. All right, so if you got the whiff of what they were saying here, that basically what happened to the big government in Rome is that they wanted to be international and created all of these type of treaties, issues within their nation, outside of their nation, and it's kind of the same thing that's going on here. What he went into was great in this particular situation was how did they sustain themselves? And it was so crazy because I was looking into what are the sectors to get into in the next 5 years? And it kept being AI. And I'm like, no. I like AI, but what can we do that's more human based and that will be more healthy for us? And one of the things is don't forget about solar energy. We're going to need to start looking into solar energy, the windmills, and I'm just throwing things out there. I'm not an investment person, but I just want you guys to pay attention because if we put everything into AI, we're literally putting into a system that can send us into the dark ages. What do I mean? People don't want to read, they don't want to write, they want to just everything just easy. It's online. It's going to take a stroke of a button or EMP, and we'll be in the dark ages. Does that make sense? So a lot of the foundation of America was basically the small business and on the states. It took the states to actually bring that money together and help the feds come together. So just remember that all of the hardship that the Fed is giving us, there's going to be more pressure on the states. So just remember this as well. We're going to get into some of the services that they defunded. But as far as the housing market, I do believe that our taxes are going to go up on a state level, on a local level. So if you own a home, get ready because they defunded the schools, which we already pay a high tax amount for. This is real talk. No low vibrational here. Get ready. I wanted y'all just like I want the South Side. And this time I'm involved. I'm expecting for my local home property taxes to go up just because of the school thing. If we don't go over there and go to the board meetings and tell them to stop that BS, because obviously our kids are not being educated properly. Moving forward, so just keep your eyes on that. The good thing is that our housing market is pretty much staying kind of like inflated the way it is. So I'm just telling you guys, if you guys got equity in your house, start pulling that shit out. Excuse my language, and start making it happen and getting more property. Just I'm not an expert. I do practice real estate. I have educational program, and today I actually have my economic development program. So I'm throwing some Jews out here because this is the next thing that I'm seeing that makes me know that we have more than just a regular economic issue. Okay, the last time the Federal Reserve, because we're going to talk about Donald Trump putting pressure on the Federal Reserve to lower the interest rates. The last time they went to almost a zero interest rate for the big bankers, not us, was around the COVID. Remember, they did that to stimulate the economy because it made the rich and elite go in and buy property. This is how we got the inflation in our homes, in our equity. Because at that time,
we weren't in good lending status because a lot of us wasn't working. People got sick, people transferred out of jobs, started whole new careers. So you saw our market be inflated, especially I'm using Atlanta as an example. 40% of the housing market is owned by private investors. This is where we got this inflation. So I'm just trying to throw some stuff out of here, how to play this damn market. Pull some money out of your equity if you have. Make sure that you have low interest loans paid off, and then start to reinvest it in a tangible market that is not fluctuating as much as everything. But it made me think about all of that because this is what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to put pressure on the Federal Reserve because the interest rates right now is at 3, which is supposed to be kind of normal for the Federal Reserve. Not really, because their interest rate is at 3 and our interest rate is at 6. We're not doing too good because it was like a 7.4 throughout the COVID. Guys, pay attention to this. We got to stay on the banking sector. We're the ones that's suffering. So we keep letting them make these crazy ass policies and not understanding the mechanism of actions and kind of seeing how everything laid out. We're going to let them do anything. So I'm glad that he's not lowering the interest rate and he's fighting Trump, because that's going to give Trump buddies the room to come in and buy more land, or China, because a lot of us are not in that situation right now to buy property the conventional way. Let's go. Yeah, I know you're going to get this work today.
Hits once again. The central bank chief said Sunday that the Justice Department had opened a criminal investigation against him for allegedly misleading Congress, while the probe is ostensibly about a project to renovate the Fed.
Mind you, I'm not a Federal Reserve group front like they right. I pretty much know that the Federal Reserve is a private entity set up by blah blah blah. That's a whole nother lie, in that this is fractional reserve banking and they got us by the balls and they're just printing money and yeah. They fund all types of sides of the war. But